Welcome to our US Briefing Show. Today, we're kicking things off with some colorful news about Pride events across the US. Many big corporations, like Comcast and Anheuser-Busch, are pulling back on their support for Pride celebrations due to shifting political climates and public opinions. This has caused some major budget shortfalls, but don't worry, these celebrations are still going strong, focusing on resilience and community spirit. Stay tuned as Pride organizations turn more to community donations to keep the Pride alive. Next up, a serious look at the sneaky tactics of the tobacco industry. As World No Tobacco Day highlights, tobacco companies are targeting youth through social media, flavors, and branding. Governments are urged to step up with higher taxes and better education to fight back. Meanwhile, international tensions between the US and China complicate efforts to curb tobacco use and trade issues. It's a global battle of health, law, and diplomacy, fascinating and vital topics to watch. And finally, a tragic story from Yellowstone. A driver from Texas, intoxicated at twice the legal limit, caused a devastating crash that killed 7 people, including tourists from China, Italy, and California. The accident underscores the dangers of impaired driving, especially in scenic, springtime routes. Our thoughts go out to all affected. Let's remember to stay safe and sober on the road. Please continue to watch for more detailed coverage. The New York Times vividly depicts the financial struggles faced by Pride organizations across the United States, as major corporations withdraw their support amidst a shifting social landscape. San Francisco Pride, a flagship event, faces a $200,000 shortfall after the departure of corporate donors like Comcast, Anheuser-Busch, and Diageo, forcing organizers to cut back on festivities, reducing stages, hiring less prominent performers, and halting free volunteer perks. Despite these setbacks, the core message of resilience persists, with Pride themes emphasizing resistance and celebration of love, signaling a steadfast commitment to LGBTQ+ rights amid economic and political adversity. Similarly, NYC Pride reports a 20% decline in corporate sponsorships, including big names like Pepsi and Nissan, prompting increased reliance on anonymous donations and local community support, illustrating how grassroots efforts are becoming vital lifelines in uncertain times. South China Morning Post underscores the ongoing battle against the tobacco industry's stealthy marketing tactics, especially on World No Tobacco Day. Despite global efforts to curb smoking through bans, warning labels, and public health campaigns, tobacco companies have adapted with digital marketing, influencer collaborations, and flavored products that appeal directly to youth. Bright packaging, sweetened flavors, and sleek gadgets mask the deadly reality of nicotine addiction, which claims over 8 million lives annually worldwide. The article emphasizes that tobacco's environmental toll, deforestation, soil depletion, and pollution from cigarette filters, further underscores the urgent need for robust government policies, increased taxation, and education initiatives to combat this persistent health menace and protect future generations from the industry's insidious influence. The Associated Press reports a tragic incident near Yellowstone National Park, where a pickup driven by a driver with a blood alcohol level twice the legal limit collided head-on with a tour van, killing 7 people. The crash, caused by Moreno crossing the center line, resulted in both vehicles catching fire, with survivors hospitalized. Idaho police highlight the devastating consequences of impaired driving, emphasizing that such choices have irreversible repercussions. This harrowing event underscores the importance of responsible behavior and strict enforcement of DUI laws, especially on busy spring routes connecting Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, which see heightened traffic before the parks fully open for summer visitors. The tragedy serves as a stark reminder of how alcohol impairment can turn a routine journey into a life-altering catastrophe. The Associated Press reports that Grupo Firme, a renowned Mexican band celebrated for their regional music, has canceled their upcoming performance at a California music festival after U.S. authorities suspended their visas. The suspension is part of a broader crackdown by the Trump administration targeting Mexican artists who produce narcocorridos, a genre that often glorifies cartel leaders and violence. Despite the band's efforts to distance themselves from such themes, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico has not disclosed specific details regarding their visa status, citing confidentiality laws. This move echoes previous actions against Mexican musicians, like Los Alegres del Barranco, who faced sanctions for their controversial imagery and lyrics, highlighting ongoing tensions over artistic expression and U.S. immigration policies aimed at curbing content deemed sympathetic to criminal organizations. The South China Morning Post highlights U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, where he warned that China seeks to fundamentally alter the region's status quo, emphasizing the urgency for U.S. allies to boost their defense spending. Hegseth pointed out China's aggressive military ambitions, including efforts to seize Taiwan by force by 2027, and underscored the importance of regional cooperation to counterbalance Beijing's expanding influence. He called on Indo-Pacific nations, especially those in Southeast Asia, to contribute more to collective security, criticizing European countries for their comparatively lower defense investments amid escalating regional tensions. The speech also noted the diminished Chinese participation in the forum, reflecting Beijing's cautious diplomatic stance, and reaffirmed U.S. commitment to strengthening alliances with Japan, the Philippines, and ASEAN members amidst rising geopolitical competition and regional conflicts. The Associated Press also reports on the Biden administration's renewed scrutiny of foreign students, particularly those planning to attend Harvard University, as part of a broader effort to monitor social media for signs of anti-Semitism and other disqualifying behaviors. A new directive, signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, mandates consular officers to review applicants' online presence, including social media accounts, to assess their credibility and potential risks. This policy, which builds on previous measures from the Trump era, aims to identify applicants with histories of violence or hate speech, but has sparked controversy amid Harvard's ongoing legal battles with the government. Harvard, which hosts a significant international student population, has challenged the government's actions, including a recent suspension of its ability to admit foreign students, which was temporarily blocked by a federal judge. The policy reflects heightened security concerns and political tensions over immigration and free speech, as the U.S. seeks to tighten vetting procedures in an increasingly polarized environment. The Associated Press highlights Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's strategic efforts to boost Democratic enthusiasm across the nation, especially at key early voting states like South Carolina and California. Walz, a compassionate leader with a background as a teacher and a former congressman, is set to keynote South Carolina's Democratic Convention in Columbia, a critical event that could influence the 2024 primary landscape. His presence underscores his rising national profile, especially after being chosen as Kamala Harris's running mate. In California, Walz is also a featured speaker at the Democratic Convention in Anaheim, where party officials praise his dedication to working families and his balanced approach to governance. Amid ongoing debates within the Democratic Party about its future direction and frustrations over perceived insufficient resistance to Donald Trump, Walz's appearances serve to energize the base and demonstrate his commitment to core values like fairness and opportunity. While he has not officially declared a run for a third term or for the presidency in 2028, Walz remains a prominent figure on the national stage, actively engaging in campaign-style activities such as town halls in Republican-leaning districts and fundraising efforts, signaling his potential interest in future leadership roles. Yahoo US reports that an appeals court in San Francisco has refused to lift a block on the Trump administration's efforts to downsize the federal workforce, keeping the pause on the Department of Government Efficiency's cuts in place. The three-judge panel of the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals expressed concern that such downsizing could have far-reaching consequences, affecting critical systems like food safety and veteran healthcare, and decided to maintain the halt while legal proceedings continue. A dissenting judge argued that President Trump likely possesses the legal authority to reduce the federal workforce and that workers have avenues for appeal through established processes. The administration's attempt to secure an emergency stay was prompted by a lawsuit from labor unions, cities, and advocacy groups, challenging the legality of the workforce reductions, which have already resulted in tens of thousands of federal employees being dismissed or leaving under deferred resignation programs. The court's order specifically halts implementation of the workforce reduction executive order signed in February, emphasizing that significant restructuring of federal agencies requires congressional approval, despite claims from government lawyers that the directives only set broad principles for agency decision-making. This legal battle underscores ongoing tensions over presidential authority and the scope of federal workforce management. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.